We're at 2 Bishop Hollow Road. This is the west wing of the Stratford School. And this is an older TPO roof or a Hypalon roof, not sure, one or the other, with the welded seams. It's got a tapered system on it, or it has certainly a central cricket design, which is performing reasonably well. You still have some ponding here, and it's been 48 hours, I believe. But you can see there's some water laying here. The cricket is this half a diamond right here that gets the water that's coming down from the main slope. It hits the cricket and then it travels to the drain. Same up here. This cricket comes down like this. The water coming down this way hits the cricket and goes to the drain. Well, in this case, this area is lower than the drain. It's ponding a little water. Standing rule on ponding water, rule of thumb, let's call it, is that any water left on a roof after 48 hours at 70 degrees ambient is considered detrimental to the roof, and that's when the warranty underwriters void the warranty. They're just going to say, well, your drainage isn't sufficient, so our warranty's not in effect. So you have to be careful with positive drainage and ponding issues. But beyond that, it's really not that bad. I mean, I've seen a lot worse. You can see how the cricket design works a little better from this perspective. You know, this cricket goes this way to the middle of it, then it gets narrow again to the next drain. So you have a diamond cricket is what we call it. It's shaped like a diamond. And then there's another half a diamond up the other end on the other side of that drain. Well, actually, you have a diamond here and then a small diamond surrounding that vent. And then you have that half a diamond up at the very end. And small diamonds right here. And there's around this guy. Kind of hard to see. And then you have a half a diamond up here. Now the hot spots on this roof are this vent. You have a leak underneath this vent. If you look closely at this, you can see you have some openings right here. This is the flange of the vent. Originally it was copper. This white stuff down here, if you can see it, is one of the earlier repair materials, and then the asphalt on top of it is the latest. So it's probably been repaired at least a few times, probably more than that. This looks like an old bead of caulk or something come loose. And this is a copper vent made by Royal, which is probably as old as this building and this building that it's on. You know, I'm going to guess it's at least 50 years old, somewhere in that neighborhood. But you have a lot of defects on the surface of this. You have one here too, and then up in the copper itself there's some openings that we looked at on the inside and saw light, which could either be reflected light or it could be direct light. Now if it's reflected light, you know, it bounces around. It doesn't mean that rain falling out of the sky is going to come through that, but it's still an opening. And in wind-driven situations, it can get in. Now these vents that have the baffles around the outside of them, these big circular things are called baffles. They're designed to eliminate wind-driven rain leaks. But sometimes they don't. As they get older, they get bent up and they start to fail. So we have a leak under there. We also have a leak under this drain here. And this is a retro drain. This drain is not the original drain. This drain was put in when this TPO roof was done. And if you look down inside there, you can see some screws down there. Looks like there's, let me see, looks like there's 3 screws down there. And those screws control a gasket on the outside of that pipe, which seals to the old cast iron pipe. And that gives you a pressurized fit down there inside that pipe. This is just a pie-shaped drain that was screwed down on top of the old drain, and then the gasket was expanded, and then you have an extension of the old drain that you can put the new roof on. Well, when you have a leak down, our service tech was inside and saw that the leak drips off the elbow down below this connection. You just saw down below that you have the leak. What we do is we'll put a plumber's plug in this pipe and we'll fill it up with water and see if we can activate that leak down below, or we'll just put a hose in here and run it for a while and see if we can get that leak to activate. The idea is to distinguish between a plumbing problem and a roofing problem. And unless you do some testing, you're never going to know. And then when you take the shotgun approach, you take a shot at this, you take a shot at that, and if you're not successful, you've wasted maybe $1,000 and you still have a leak. So it's always key to have the right information before you try to resolve any of these leaks. Dave, was just 2 leaks on this building?
One right at the elbow of the drain, and one on the edge of this vent here, closest to the drain. But again, with the tile and the other, it's hard to determine.
So there's a leak on this vent too then, right here?
Yeah.
Okay, well this is a newer aluminum vent. It's louvered and it's canted so that it restricts wind-driven leaks. Could be, it's close enough that it could be related to the drain. I mean, it's only, I don't know, 2.5, 3 feet from this penetration, which we'll call a rectangular vent. And because there's probably multiple layers on this roof, water can travel underneath the surface and then come out, within a few feet of the point of entry, real easy. So we don't know what's going on right in this area, but we know we have some good suspects with that drain, with that vent, and with this vent. Talking about bent up vents, here's another circular copper vent. You can see it's manufactured right in Philly, the Royal Vent Company, Royal Ventilator, and this thing took a shot from something, either wind or something beat the heck out of that. It's just all mangled up, and that should be leaking, because there's no way those baffles are keeping wind-driven rain out. That's just too mangled. Now you look at the, all these little copper vents are all remnants of the original roof. The curbs are refitted with the new roof, and then they put the old vents right on top. Perimeter's got like a 1-foot wall. You still got the limestone copings around the perimeter. All those joints have been caulked. The limestone's always a concern. It's a porous stone. You could pour a cup of water on that, it would disappear right into it. It's just going to absorb water, and over time it breaks down. And unless this flashing system right here, this is the counter flashing to the roof. This is usually part of a second flashing that goes all the way underneath the coping stone to the outside. It's called a through wall flashing, and that's put in there by good builders who understand that this limestone's going to become porous someday, and it's going to need a second defense underneath this bed joint, like a through wall flashing. So that's not known, but that's guessed. Sometimes you can see the tip of them sticking out on this side if they're in here, but we're not going to be able to see one here because you have raised pointing. I don't think it's visible there. Dave, you want to test cut this roof, see what we got?
Take it up top?
Yeah. It's got scuppers, through wall scuppers on the high side. These are overflow drain boxes. You got one here, one up that end, one in that corner, and one in the other corner. And they're just emergency overflows in case the drains block up. The roof doesn't become submerged in 2 feet of water, it can get out again through the overflows. See some of the counters are starting to show signs of age, and this is this copper doesn't look that bad. I mean, I've seen a lot worse. When it turns orange, it starts to really start to get thin. As long as it's green, it's kind of stabilized. When you see it turn orange or shiny orange, that's when it gets to be a problem. Yeah, there's no sign of counter or through wall flashing on this side either. Can't really see anything there. So I'm kind of doubtful that there's anything under that limestone. The only way to be sure is to take one off. Here's the other through wall overflow. A lot of roof cement in this area. Must have had some leaks. And we're going to take a test cut right here. Here we have our hole. And this sure feels like it's right on the deck. Looks like this was torn off before this roof was put on. That's 2-inch ISO, it looks like. Just gauging on my finger digits, segments. Looks like it's 2-inch ISO. And then there's a concrete deck down there, some kind of hard deck, cementitious. So that's a good sign. That's a good sign because this insulation then is non-permeable, which means it doesn't absorb water and it holds up well. If it does get wet, it doesn't soak water and become a giant problem whenever the next tear off or next roof is put on. So it's a good sign to see that ISO. It looks like the hard work was done last time around. Someone tore this off down to this deck down here. And it's definitely some kind of concrete. And you feel the stone in it. And it's about 2 inches deep. Dave, it looks like what, 2-inch ISO? Right to the deck, right? All right, we're going to patch that up and